Fellow bro.
3 days, not a single word. And you come home smelling like a pina colada?
That's my native deodorant, honey. You watch me put it on. Clean and great.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your bro. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to teach you guys about wrapper classes in Java. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. You can become a hero and save our channel by smashing that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro. Hey, welcome back guys and gals. In this video I'm going to explain wrapper classes. A wrapper class provides a way to use primitive data types as reference data types. Here are a few examples of primitive data types. They include, but are not limited to, booleans, chars, ints, doubles. There's still many more out there such as bytes, shorts, and floats, but here are a few of the more common ones that we've been working with. So notice that strings are not within this list of primitive data types. That's because strings are already reference data types. Now, reference data types have some advantages and disadvantages. A few advantages, for one, would include that they may contain some useful methods. For example, take the last video on string methods. The string class contains some useful methods, and strings are an example of a reference data type. Also, reference data types can be used with certain collections, and they can be used with, for example, array lists, which we'll learn about in the next video. And a disadvantage of reference data types over primitive data types, for one, is that reference data types are slower to access. If you need to get the value of a primitive data type that is enclosed within a wrapper class, it's going to take more steps. So if you're working with millions of numbers, well, it's going to take a lot more time and a lot more processing power to use reference data types compared to primitive data types, because primitive data types are a lot faster. So each primitive data type has a corresponding wrapper class, and there's a naming convention with these. For the wrapper class, the first letter is capital, and the entire name is, for the most part, spelled out. So Boolean would be Boolean with a capital B, char would be character with a capital C, int is integer with a capital I, and double is still double but with a capital D. So let's assign a few primitive data types and use the corresponding wrapper class to create a reference data type. So Java has this feature called autoboxing and unboxing. We can directly assign some primitive values to a wrapper class automatically, and here's the definition. So autoboxing is the automatic conversion that the Java compiler makes between primitive data types and their corresponding object wrapper class. So let's use autoboxing to assign a primitive data type, a few primitive data types, to each corresponding wrapper class. So let's begin with a Boolean value. So we're going to list the data type, and it's going to be the wrapper class. So Boolean with a capital B, let's call this variable A equals, and then we can just use autoboxing to directly assign a primitive value to this reference data type. So I'm going to say that Boolean A equals true, and that is it. And let's assign a few others. So we have character B equals, let's assign a character, maybe the @ symbol. Integer C equals 1, 2, 3. And double D equals, let's say, 3.14. And what we have done is created 4 reference data type variables. Boolean A, character B, integer C, and double D. And for fun, let's create a string variable as well. Let's say string E equals whatever your name is. So are you beginning to see a pattern here? Strings are already a reference data type. That's why the first letter in the string data type, when you declare a variable of this type, is capital compared to the primitive data type variables that we've been working with. So it's kind of like we've been using reference data types all along when working with strings. As we've discussed at the beginning of this video, reference data types have a few advantages and disadvantages, and one of the advantages is that each wrapper class may contain some useful methods, kind of like what we did with the string class in the last video. So we already have a string. Let's look at a few of the methods of Boolean wrapper classes. So type in the name of the Boolean variable A dot, and then here are all the methods that you have access to. The same thing goes with characters. Here's a bunch of methods you can use. Same thing with integers and doubles. So reference data types within the wrapper class, they have access to some useful methods that you can use for your program. Not only that, but you can use these reference data types with certain collections, and we'll be using them for array lists in the next video. So if you need to access the values within a wrapper class, well, there's a feature called autoboxing and unboxing. Autoboxing is the automatic conversion that the Java compiler makes between primitive data types and their corresponding object wrapper class. When we directly assigned some values to each of these reference data types, what we have done is autoboxing. We automatically converted these primitive values to the corresponding wrapper class automatically. But unboxing is the reverse. We can convert a wrapper class to its primitive value. So what I'm saying is that with unboxing, we can treat these reference data type variables as if they were standard primitive values. So for example, let's say if Boolean A is equal to true, then we will display this is true. So even though this is a reference data type, it will still behave as a standard primitive data type because of the unboxing feature. And the same thing goes with B, except B has to be a character, so let's check to see if this is equal to our @ sign, and this is also true. So that is the unboxing feature. You can still treat these reference data types as if they were primitives. So even though there are a few advantages of wrapper classes over the primitive data type that they may contain, there is still the disadvantage that accessing the values contained within a wrapper class still takes a lot more steps compared to using just a raw primitive value. So if you're working on a program that contains millions of numbers, for example, using reference data types, using the wrapper class for each primitive value is going to take a lot more steps compared to just using a standard primitive value. So primitive values are a lot faster than reference data types. So everybody, that's the basics of wrapper classes. If you would like a copy of all this code, I will post all of this in the comments down below. Don't forget to do me a favor and smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.
Old Spice Gentleman's Body Wash. Himalayan sea salt. 24/7 moisture resistant.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys all about array lists in Java, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright, well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, in this video I'm going to be explaining array lists. An array list is a collection. It's a type of resizable array. Elements can be added and removed after the compilation phase, which you cannot normally do with standard arrays. However, they only store reference data types, and I'll give you a few examples. So these are the steps in order to create an array list. First, we type array list. Pay attention to the capitalization. The A and the L are both capital. Then we need a pair of angle brackets, and we're going to list the reference data type within the angle brackets. Let's say we're storing an array list of food. So we will create an array list that will store some strings for the names of food. Now, if you need to store primitive values like an integer, a double, a character, you need to use the wrapper class. So for example, if we needed to store integers within an array list, we would not place int, we would use the appropriate wrapper class and type integer. So we're going to be storing strings, which are already referenced data types. So let's call this array list food equals new array list. In angle brackets, we're going to list the data type again of string, parentheses, semicolon, and we'll need an import. So at the top, of our program outside the class, import java.util.ArrayList. We now have an array list called food that will store strings. So how can we add values to our array list? Well, there is a function to do that. That is the add function. And in order to use the add function, type in the name of the array list, dot add, and we can add a string. So let's add a few food items. Let's add pizza to the first element, followed by, I'm going to copy this, hamburger, and hot dog. So let's display all the elements of our array list, and we can do that using a for loop. So for, parentheses, curly braces, and then we will need an index, int I, we'll set this equal to 0. We'll continue this for loop as long as I is less than food, and normally with arrays you would use dot length, but with array lists we use dot size. And we are going to increment our index by 1. And then in order to display or retrieve one of the elements of our array, we will use the get function. And let's put this within a print line statement. Food dot get, and then we are going to list the index of I. So this will display all of the food that is in our array list: pizza, hamburger, and hot dog. Now let's just Discuss a few useful methods of array lists. The first useful method is the set method, food.set. So we can set a value at a certain index. Let's say at index 0, currently we have pizza. At this index, we will replace this value with maybe sushi. And now, within our array list, if we display all of the elements using our for loop, we now have sushi, hamburger, and hot dog. So our pizza value has been replaced with sushi because we used the set method. So we can also remove a value at a certain index using the remove method, food.remove. Let's say we would like to remove our hot dog. That is at element number 2. And now we only have sushi and hamburger. And last but not least, we can use the clear method to clear our array list, food.clear. And we no longer have any elements within our array list of food because we cleared it. We ate all the food. All right, everybody, so that is array lists in Java. If you would like a copy of all this code, I will post all of this in the comments down below. Please don't forget to do me a favor and smash that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.
Aussie has the perfect products for my hair type.
I can genuinely tell a difference in the softness and hydration in my hair.
My curls feel moisturized and plump.
I really hate having flat hair, but Aussie products have made it possible for me to always be adding volume.
It's honestly so amazing. I love it.
Bro. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your bro here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys about two-dimensional array lists in Java. So let's get into it. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Hey everybody, so we're going to be discussing 2D array lists, and what this is that it's a dynamic list of lists. It's a list of separate lists. So you can actually change the size of these lists during runtime, so that's kind of an advantage of array lists over just standard arrays. So before we begin, make sure you have this import at the top. And what I'm thinking for this video is that we're going to create separate shopping lists, and at the end we're going to add these separate shopping lists to an array list. It's going to be a list of separate lists. So let's create a array list for maybe bakery goods, like things we need to buy at the bakery at a grocery store. So we'll create an array list, and then we need some angle brackets. And then with array lists, these store objects, so we need to use the wrapper class of the data type that we're storing. So for example, if you need to store integers, you're going to use the wrapper class of integer. But let's store some strings, because we're storing the names of things we need to buy. So let's call this array list bakery list. And we're going to set this equal to new array list. All right, let's add a few things to our bakery list. So bakery list dot add, and what do we want to buy? Maybe some pasta, and maybe two other things. How about some garlic bread? Everybody loves garlic bread. And donuts, because I like donuts. Okay, so we have an array. List called bakery list, and it has these three items. We can actually display our bakery list by using a print line statement, and we're going to place our bakery list within here, and we have pasta, garlic bread, and donuts. Now if you want to retrieve a certain element, of this list, we use the dot get method, and we specify an index. So 0 would be pasta. So let's create a few other lists. So I'm just going to copy this, and for the next list, let's have this be a produce list. So fruit and vegetables. So produce list, and we need to change this here as well. So we'll change bakery list to produce list for this next array list. And let's add some tomatoes. And what goes with pasta? Maybe some zucchini. And maybe peppers. Okay, and then we'll just add one more. So what about a drinks list? So we'll change produce to drinks, and let's say we only want 2 drinks. So these lists don't have to be the same size as each other because they're all independent lists. So let's say that we want soda and we want coffee. And let's display our drinks list. Oh. Oh, we should probably change this here as well. So make sure you do that. Okay, we'll display our drinks list, which has just soda and coffee. Now we have these separate array lists, one for each aisle of a grocery store, well, at least just a few of them. So what we can do is actually add all of these separate lists to one list, and we can call it maybe grocery list. It will contain different lists of what we need to buy at the grocery store, and they're all kind of organized by their section. We have one for bakery goods, we have one for produce, and we have one for drinks. So let's create a 2D array list to contain these separate array lists. So what we're going to type is array list, and then within the angle brackets, we list the data type of what we want to store. And what we want to store this time is array lists of strings. So we're going to place this within angle brackets. So array list, and within the angle brackets, array list again, and this stores strings. So we need a name for this 2D array list, and the name should be descriptive of what it contains. So we'll just say grocery list, because it contains separate lists of things we need to buy at the grocery store, and they're all organized by section. So grocery list equals new array list. And then we need to add these separate array lists to our 2D array list. So what we're going to do is take our grocery list, and then we're going to add whatever lists that we want to add. So we need to add our bakery list, and we're going to do the same thing for our produce list and our drinks list. So we'll change bakery to produce, and then lastly, we need drinks. So drinks, list. So then if we take our grocery list and then display this, what we end up seeing is that we get the total. Total sum of everything that's within our grocery list, and they're all arranged by section or array list. You can see that they're all separated with a comma, so it's a list of lists. Now let's say that you want to retrieve just one list from this array list. Well, you can use the get function, and then you can retrieve something by its index. So let's say that we want the first list in this 2D array list. We're going to get index 0, and this will retrieve the first list. Now let's say that we want the first element of our first list. We're going to add dot get again, and then the index for the element of this inner list. So if we want the first element of the first list, we type in dot get 0 and dot get 0 again. And then when we run this, we have pasta. Now if we want the last index, so this is, let's see, this is list 2, item number 1. So we'll write get to item number 1, and this retrieves coffee. So that's the basics of 2D array lists. It's just a container for separate array lists. You can do this with other collections too, but we've only really covered array lists. So if you want a copy of all this code, I'll post this in the comments down below. But yeah, that's how two-dimensional array lists work in Java. Hey, what's going on, everybody?